Time I can get other stuff done.
Okay, now it's going live. Hey, you guys, show's about to start. We're going live on the heater. 4927. This service selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack. Hey, Denisha. Hi, Nicole. Hey, Sacramento. How is everyone on this weird-looking Wednesday? I hope you are staying safe and sheltered indoors and only going out if you need to. The air quality has been deemed unhealthy. This is Agent KEE. I am not a weather lady. I am the residential real estate agent here at 97.5 FM KDEE, and you are tuned in to Selling Sacramento. How is everybody on this Wednesday? Last week, we were talking about the key to a successful career in real estate. We had to label that part one, ladies and gentlemen, because we did not get through it. So today you are tuning in to part two of the key to a successful career in real estate. Last week, we did developing your business plan. And I am actually in the process of putting a link on my website. I have a website called agentkey.com. And within the next couple of days, you'll see a link go up on that site that has the documents from this show. So if you've been listening, if you are someone interested in getting into real estate, if you know someone interested in getting into real estate, within the next couple of days, you'll be able to get the document from this series on my website at agentkey.com. So right after today, the show from last week, we did the business plan. You will see the business plan outline go up on my website within the next couple of days. And again, that website is agentkey.com. Check that out there. And so today we're going to be talking about managing your financials. Just to give you a quick overview of the 4 points that I want to highlight in this series. The first was last week, which was developing your business plan. And then today we'll talk about managing your financials. Next week, we're going to take a break because I will have a special guest, and we're going to take a different angle and come back next month and wrap up this series. But my guest next week will be Jesus Hernandez, and he's a PhD and board member of the KDEE Coalition. And the city of Sacramento has been, everyone, well, I can't say everyone, many of us are aware of the plans of the city of Sacramento to change New Helvetia. I'll just use the word change. The change that they want to implement according to their narrative, they say it's in the best interest of the New Helvetia community. However, there is an opposing view to the narrative that we're hearing from the city of Sacramento. And so next week, my guest will be Jesus Hernandez, who is a board member of the KDEE Coalition, who has a different narrative than the city of Sacramento. And so he's going to be on the show next week to present that side of the narrative. So we're looking forward to that discussion. And the week after that, we will have Miss Faye Wilson Kennedy. She is the chairperson of the Sacramento Area Black Caucus, and she's going to bring us information on their new initiative. It's the voter education project entitled Black Voters Matter. And I invited Miss Faye on the show because this election we know is very important. And I want to be able to use this platform to help us understand, get a better understanding without a political bent, not from a Democratic side or a Republican side, to help us understand the items that are going to be on the ballot, and in particular, those ones that are going to impact the African American community. So Ms. Faye Wilson will be our guest. Ms. Faye Wilson Kennedy will be our guest in 2 more Wednesdays. Then we will be in the month of October. My goodness, time is flying by so fast. And we will get back on track to our series of the key to a successful career in real estate. And so we'll finish the series with sales and marketing, lead generation, and social media. And I'll make an attempt to put those in one episode, but in case we can't, I'll spread them out over 2 Wednesdays. All in all, this information is much more in depth than how I'm providing it over the air. And so I think I told you last week, I am also preparing a training series for people who want to get into real estate, and you really want to have a mapped out plan, a clear foundation, a clear plan and a firm foundation on how to become a successful real estate agent, the steps you need to take. So I will let you know when that event will kick off. It will more than likely be in November, probably mid-November, late November, but it will be an online education event, and you'll have plenty of time to get prepared before it. So if you're watching me on Facebook Live, I want to say hello to Clara. I see Miss Clara out there. I see, now some of you guys have names on social media that I can't say over the air. So I'm just going to say, I see you. And the comment says she's going to send her mom her info that she just started. She's going to send her mom my info because she just started. That's wonderful. I'm always happy to help. If you are someone who has just started in real estate and you're just looking for guidance, you're looking for direction, you're looking for how-tos, that's why I'm here. Feel free to reach out to me, agentkee007@gmail.com, agentkee007@gmail.com. So we're going to get started. If you really want to follow along, I recommend that you pull out your pencil and paper. This is a little bit of a class session. It's not about real estate stats in the market and things like that, but this is specifically for those of you who want to dig into real estate. So today we're talking about your business format. The very first thing you need to do once you've decided you want to get in real estate, you've mapped out the plan, you've developed your business plan. The next step is developing your financials and how to manage them, what that's going to look like. So we're going to make the assumption that by now you've determined the name of your business. If you're under a brokerage, you'll need to have your broker get a DBA, doing business as, and add you to their broker's license. There are very strict rules if you're going to call yourself something other than your personal name, if you're going to be under a brokerage. So you have to keep that in mind. And I want to stop right there to tell you the difference between what a broker is and what a real estate agent is. Real estate agent or salesperson. Everyone in the real estate industry that's helping people buy and sell real estate must be a licensed real estate salesperson. You can manage real estate salespersons if you have a broker's license. I don't want to get into that too much, but I just want to give you that difference. That's the difference. As a broker, you maintain the overhead, the desk space, the licensing, the different fees and resignations and different designations that you need to have. You provide a place for your agents to learn, to bring their clients, and this is, of course, pre-COVID. You provide all of that. You basically assume all of the liability as a broker. And in exchange, all of your agents, when it comes to commission time, are paid a commission split from you. So if there is a commission that comes in at, let's say, $12,000, if you do what's called a 50-50 split, which is what most new agents get, that means the new agent gets $6,000, you as the broker get $6,000. But as the agent, that $6,000 still isn't $6,000 because there are other fees and costs that the broker can charge you. Most brokerages charge desk fees. You subtract that from the $6,000. There are transaction coordinator fees. My transaction coordinator makes $350 per transaction. Every time we close a deal, she gets $350. If you're under a broker, they're going to have a specific amount that they're going to charge you as well. So just remember, keep in mind that as you go under a broker, especially as a new agent, they're going to give you what's called a split. You can ask for a higher split, the better the agent you are. After a while, once you start closing a lot of transactions and you can prove how good you are, not only can you ask for a higher split, other brokerages will come looking for you. And that's why I often like to say it's not the brokerage that makes the agent. It's the agent who makes the brokerage. Most people have that, most business people have that it factor, that thing where it doesn't matter what they put their hand to, because they have the tenacity, the stick-to-itness, the planning, and or they learn fast. They're going to excel at whatever they do. And so for those of you who are looking into real estate, if that's you and you're going to do well, then you will eventually be able to command a higher commission split. So once you've determined your business name and you've determined where you're going to rest your license, whose brokerage you're going to put your license under, you'll need to open a business account. This is very important that you don't commingle your real estate business money with your personal money. You have to remember last week, you are CEO, COO, CFO. As a business owner, your business expenses should be split separate. Think in terms of if you were working on a job and you received your paycheck from your employer. Your paycheck should not be coming from your employer's personal account, but more than likely it is not coming from your employer's personal account. It's coming from a business account. So you need to set yourself up the same way. And as we go through this information, I'm going to tell you it's important for you to pay yourself also. So just because a check comes in doesn't mean that you should be taking that whole check and then redepositing it into your personal business account, but we'll get to that. So you open your business account, and I recommend that you go to a local credit union where they'll give you more personal attention. I find that commercial banks, they're impersonal and they can back burner you, especially when it comes to something super important as you're dealing with your personal business issues. So I like the local credit unions. I personally bank at, I guess it's okay to give them a plug, the Bank of Stockton. And even though the name is Bank of Stockton, they're right in Elk Grove. I believe they used to be called Elk Grove Commerce. But some of the more, since I've been there, I've probably been there maybe 6 years now. No one in that bank has left. Everyone's still there, the same, like half a dozen people, and they've gotten a couple new people. And they all know me. It's like walking into the bank and somebody saying, you know, what's the show? Cheers. Norm. Hey, Norm. It's, hey, Keisha. Hey. And you like that. That's intentional, but then they also know you. I never have to present my ID, but I have a bank account at Bank of America also. And every time I go in there, guess what they ask for? My ID. So you're going to get much more personal service as a business owner at one of the local banks. And then it's just good to serve the banks in the local community. So open a business account. Keep your money separate. Keep your business expenses and income separate from your personal accounts. The next item is to develop a budget listing your potential expenses. You guys, we need to go to a break. I'm just going. We're going to take a break. But when we come back, we're going to go into developing a budget listing your potential expenses. And I'm going to give you some items that you can start with. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I'm Agent Key, and we'll be right back. Hey, everyone. How are y'all doing? Hey, lady. Brown sugar. How you doing, girl? Let me see. So I pulled in Periscope this time, you guys. I got Periscope up here. I think we got YouTube is going. So right now, the show is streaming on YouTube, Periscope, my personal Facebook page, the business Facebook page, and Twitter. So I hope you guys are finding this information helpful. I just want to help those of you I always get reached out to on a regular basis by people wanting to know what it takes to get into real estate. And so this information, it's step by step, but it's super general. So I'm going to create a training program that's much more specific, and I'm going to invite some of my friends from the industry to help with the classes. So it won't be just me. You guys won't have to see my face all the time. But I'm hoping that you'll find it helpful. And the way that it's looking, I'll probably release it in November. It's going to take a little time to put it together. There's some other stuff I'm working on. You guys know I'm working on the Buy Back the Block Sacramento project, and it's kind of been quiet. I haven't talked about it a lot because I'm a woman of action. I don't like to talk. I like to do. So I'll be bringing more information about that as well and share it with you guys as everything unfolds. And oh, the air came on. Oh, did you? Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. It was kind of, I was feeling like it was looking outside. Maybe that's why I was feeling kind of, yeah. Are y'all staying healthy out there? So you guys get your pen and paper. We're going to talk about the kinds of expenses that you're going to have as a real estate professional. And you may have more expenses, but this is just a general idea of what you can expect. Okay. Hey, Mama. Y'all, that's my mama when it says Linda Lee. I have to tell you who she is because sometimes she'll write a post and she'll say, "It's me, Mom." Like, we know it's you, Mom. You don't have to write that. So when y'all, oh, okay, I'm being nice to, okay, be nice to my mom. So when y'all see Linda Lee, that's Mama. You know, moms always support. My daughter is the same way. When I say, "Oh, it was great, you did that," you have to say that. You're my mom. But I'm going to tell you when it's really good, and I'm going to tell you when it's not. Do y'all tell your kids the truth when it's good and when it's not? Yeah. So they should appreciate when we tell them it's good. It means it really is. Okay, we're back on the air, y'all. About to be. Hey everyone, we're back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent KEE, and today we are talking about the key to a successful career in real estate. We are dealing with how to manage your financials, and we left off before the break at developing a budget listing potential expenses. So if you do not already have a pen and paper, go ahead and get your pen and paper. If you're new to the industry, if you are considering real estate, these are some of the expenses that you can expect to have. And if you've never developed a budget before, I mentioned earlier in the show, in a couple of days, I'm going to put a link on my website. My website is agentkee.com, AGENTKEE.com. And it'll probably say Selling Sacramento or something like that. You'll know it when you see it. I'll make it super easy to know. There's not much up there now, so you'll know what it is when you see it. But it will contain the documents that I'm talking about over this series and templates so that you can just go on there and download them. I want this to be a super easy thing for you all to access. I want to share with you what I know so that more of us can enter the industry. We're underrepresented in real estate, not only in home buying, but also in the field as real estate professionals. I think I just about know, well, I can't say I know everyone. I know a majority of the Black real estate agents in Sacramento. And I would love to get to a point one day where I don't know. So, you know, there's so many, it's hard to know them all. That's the goal. So the expenses that you'll be incurring in real estate. Number one is the commission split, as I said earlier. So if you get a $12,000 check, you don't really have a $12,000 check because you have what's called a split. You got to give your broker some and then you keep the rest. So if you have if you have a 50-50 split, you got 6,000 and so on. In addition to that commission split, you will have desk fees. Many of the bigger brokerages, I'm hesitating to say this, many brokerages make their money off of charging you fees, monthly fees, whether you close a transaction or not. And so desk fees can be $200-300 a month, or $99 a month, or $500 a month if you've got an office space. But that fee is going to pop up as a bill in your real estate life on a monthly basis. So you need to anticipate that. When you go and you speak to different brokerages and you're interviewing, ask them what are their desk fees. Ask them what are their fees that you can anticipate spending. That's a major question that you need to ask a brokerage when you're interviewing to see where you want to rest your license. You will have taxes. Later on in this discussion, I'll talk about hooking up with a tax professional because you need to estimate how much you'll be spending in your taxes so that you can take that percentage out of each check. When you were employed and working for an employer, your employer took your taxes out for you automatically. But as a business owner, you now need to anticipate how much you're going to be paying in taxes and take out your own taxes, set it aside in account number 2. So account number 1 was your business account. Account number 2 is your tax account. And so this is an account where you just take that money out that check and you put it there no matter what. You don't touch that. And when it's time to pay your quarterly taxes or however you decide how often you're going to pay them, the money's there. You don't have to think about it. You can go and just send it off. Okay. Other expenses will be marketing expenses. So what are marketing expenses? However you plan to promote yourself. I have 2 billboards. Those are considered marketing expenses. Those are monthly fees that I pay. I have a fee that I pay quarterly for this radio show. That's a marketing expense. I have, every time I put a sign in somebody's yard for a house that I'm going to list, that's a marketing expense. And so on and so forth. So as you spend that money, you'll get a better idea and you can more fine tune in how much your marketing expenses really are. But you need to beforehand anticipate how much you want to spend, how much you have. This kind of leads us to the conversation of, should I be in real estate part-time or full-time? Should I have a job while I'm on the side? Should I have a savings before I quit my job? Hopefully, once we get through this discussion, it will help you better answer that question. I think it's different for every person. I can't really say that. I'm a huge risk taker. And so I personally, after much prayer about something and feeling led by God, I just take the leap. I don't overanalyze and overassess things like that. But I know for some people, it's necessary to comfort their spirit, to comfort them personally. And so if you're that kind of person that needs to count all the costs, cross all the T's and dot all the I's, this is the perfect way to do it, knowing what your expenses are going to be in advance. Salaries, payroll, and retirement. So out the gate, you aren't going to have people that you're paying. Maybe, with the exception of the transaction coordinator who will be processing your files on behalf of your broker. Every brokerage has one of those. But later on, as you become, as your business grows, you may decide that you want to hire an assistant. So you'll need to consider that assistant's salary as part of your expenses. Immediately, you need to be thinking about retirement and savings. I know a lot of people don't take this leap into real estate because they think if they leave the state, oh, what's going to happen to my retirement? Well, the state isn't doing anything that you can't do for yourself. They're taking money out. They're taking your money out your paycheck and they're redistributing it somewhere else. You can do that on your own with the proper financial planning. Speaking to a financial planner will help you create your own retirement and savings plan. So I did mine through E-Trade, and I have some other investment and savings vehicles as well. You can do the same thing. You can put your stuff on autopilot, and it's doing the same thing that an employer, someone that you think, oh, here's the security. You think it's secure. Nothing is secure. 2020 has shown us nothing else, that nothing is secure. So if you have the ability to gain the understanding and do it yourself, I know for some people it seems overwhelming or hard, but that's why reaching out to people like myself and other people to help you walk you through it is so important. That's why those of us who've been here, those of us who are getting ready to retire, those of us who have the knowledge, it's our responsibility to share this information with other people openly and not be so closed off about and secretive about who we give our information to. We need to share it liberally. So you can set up your own retirement plan as a real estate professional. Auto expenses. Your vehicle will automatically become much more valuable to you financially. The gas that you spend, the time that you spend in your car, a lot of mileage tracking that you can do for tax write-off purposes. There are apps that are available for that as well. So those auto expenses are going to be something that you'll want to list as a category. All of these things that I'm naming are going to be categories that you'll put in your budget. And again, I'll have this document on the website within the next couple of days. Office expenses. You'll have monthly office expenses, or, you might I just bought a new laptop a few months ago, hadn't bought a computer for 3 years. So that wasn't an expense that came around until a few years later, but you can prepare for that. If you know that every couple of years you probably want to upgrade your technology, then start putting away a few dollars in the call it your technology account, start putting away that money in advance in preparation of the purchase for when you'll need it. So other office expenses, if you have a printer, you need paper, the ink, all of those things, those are all office expenses. Your telephone, your what else would be an office expense? There's just so many things. The pens that you use. When you start getting into it, you'll see what they are. The main thing is that you have the category there for you before you hit the ground running. I said phone under office expenses, but I have another category for that, which is phone and internet, because those kind of coincide. So you have your phone and internet expenses. You'll definitely need internet, hopefully some type of a high speed, as you do more things in your business, especially pertaining to videos and social media. Insurance. Your insurance, you need to have a category for insurance: life insurance, health insurance, medical insurance. There's an insurance that I had that was in the event I got injured on the job or got cancer or something like that, they would immediately pay out $25,000, and then pay a monthly fee to, I think it was something like $5,000 a month. And I dropped that not long ago because I got another insurance that was a little bit better. But the point is that I was paying into that every month for that type of insurance to cover the need in the event that something went wrong and I can't work anymore. So you want to have a category for insurance. And then legal and accounting is another category. Once you become a real estate professional, the majority of real estate companies and brokerages that I am aware of all belong to the Realtor, all have the Realtor designation. The Realtor designation is citywide, statewide, and nationwide. So there's the Sacramento Association of Realtors, the California Association of Realtors, and the National Association of Realtors. When you see those commercials, REALTOR, that's a designation. That's a brand. It's kind of like when you see the word Band-Aid. Band-Aid is a brand. It's not the name of the item. The name of the item is bandage. But they've made Band-Aid a household name that it doesn't matter who makes a bandage, everybody calls it a Band-Aid. And that's kind of like real estate professionals. Everybody gets called a realtor, but it doesn't mean that everybody is one. There are a large percentage of people who are, very large percentage. Chances are, if you're talking to a real estate salesperson, they probably are a realtor, but there is a chance that they may not be a realtor. Why is that important? Because as a realtor, the designation, that means that you subscribe to a certain set of codes and guidelines and ethical standards to uphold and adhere to that help protect your clients, whether you're representing the buyer or the seller, that protect the general public, specifically also as it pertains to national, state, and local laws regarding equal opportunity, housing rights, all of those laws that were put in place to ensure democracy in housing. So if you're dealing with a realtor, that's what you're getting. As a realtor, we pay a high price every year. It's almost $1,000 a year that we pay to this organization. That's an expense that you want to put on your budget line, that realtor fee. But what you get for that fee is bananas. It's nuts. It's a good thing. It's like I said bananas, but bananas doesn't sound bananas as in it's crazy. You get a lot. I have a host of attorneys on speed dial, real estate attorneys on speed dial on my phone that I can call anytime to inquire about any situation. And I use it on a regular basis because it keeps me out of trouble. It keeps my clients protected. And at $1,000 a year to have an attorney at my beck and call, that in and of itself is worth it. But that's not all it provides. When it's time for you to renew your license, you can renew your license for free right now as a real estate professional, taking all of the classes that you need to get your license renewed on the California Association of Realtors website. Locally, there are classes, the classes just never end. The training never ends when it comes to understanding contracts, new agent training. All of that information is available when you become a realtor. And I'm saying that I'm lifting them up and giving them kudos, but I do have to say that I wasn't always able to lift them up and give them kudos. There was a time back in the 70s, when they were part of the problem and not the solution. So I'm glad that we don't live in that era today. But as a part of them not being part of the solution in the 70s, we also have the realtists. And what are the realtists? The National Association of Real Estate Brokers is the segment of real estate professionals who are African Americans. So National Association of Real Estate Brokers is the nationwide name. California Association of Real Estate Brokers is the statewide name, and the Sacramento Realtist Association is the local name. Our current president is my friend, Ms. Tanisha Broadway, and y'all heard her on the show several times. But if you want to become a realtist, if you are, and you don't have to be Black to join the realtist, you just have to be on board with democracy and housing. You just have to be on board with supporting the improvement of Black home ownership, increasing that, and the pathways to home ownership for African Americans. And you can become a member. So you can check that site out as well. So those are just a few examples of the expenses that you'll have, the legal and accounting fees. And I mentioned association fees. But so that could be either a separate category or you could put it with legal and accounting. I'd probably make that a separate association fees, because there are a lot of different associations that you could join. There's a fee annually for the realtists. There's a fee annually for the realtors. You're going to have legal and accounting fees. And that brings us to the next point, which is lining up a good accountant and having a meeting with that person in advance in preparation of your potential income, your potential taxes, how to mitigate through all of that for your upcoming real estate year. How much money you need to be putting away with each check, you need to know in advance, because you'll be paying your own taxes, as I stated before. And then how to pay yourself, how to properly save and invest. So you want to reach out to a really good tax professional so that you can let them know, here's what I'm planning to do. How should I set this up? What should this look like? That's what a professional business person does. You plan the foundation before you take off. This is all a part of setting a firm foundation. These are things you not should do. These are things that you must do. And I'm sharing this now with you after being in real estate for 16 years and suffering the bumps and bruises, getting to this point. If I could do it all over again, I wish I had someone to sit down with me and share this information that I'm sharing with you. And I wish I was in the mindset to be attentive and to hear. Some of you are not going to, you're just going to shoot first and then load your gun later. But, and that'll be unfortunate. I really recommend that you prepare properly so that you have a nice, firm, solid foundation so that when storms come, you won't be so easily swayed because you've got such a deep, firm rooting in your real estate foundation. So during this meeting, also talk with your accountant about the best software that you can use to help you maintain your data to be able to hand it off easily to your accountant. I personally use QuickBooks Pro, and I use bench.co. I had a CPA for a number of years, and I may have shared on the show before that she fell ill and she had to scale back her business greatly. She was tremendous asset, and I hated to see her go. But she recommended bench.co, and they are an online accounting company. There are many great local accountants, though. I've run into a number of them, and maybe I'll share that list also on my page for you all. I'll have to vet them first because I've only interacted with a couple, but I know that there are several more that exist. So I want to make sure you all are really getting the best of the best when I post them up there for you. So here's the other thing that's very important. Whether or not you should become an LLC or an S-Corp or any of those things should be discussed with a real estate attorney or someone who is super knowledgeable about how to set up businesses. And that way you're able to share your personal goals and you select the correct structure up front. I personally went down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I was as an independent contractor, as a salesperson, and then becoming a broker and then opening up my brokerage, trying to decide how I should label my business. And I went the wrong way out the gate. And for almost a year and a half, my CPA spent a long time pulling me out and unwinding and unraveling all of that. And if I had talked to someone, like a great resource for this would also be Angela Lofton Moore, if you all have heard of her. If you haven't, look her up. She's fabulous. She's the CEO of Moore Park Enterprises. And they do business training and planning. They specialize in helping prepare you form the right business entity. So that's what's super important. They hold online tax workshops and more. And you can reach Angela at 916-706-1155. This is actually a great jump off point before I would say before you do any of the things that I just started off with today, reaching out to Angela and having a consultation with her, letting her know that you plan to become a real estate professional. Here are some of the things that you heard from Agent KEE regarding how to set yourself up and the things that you'll need to do, and then ask her to consult with you on forming the business entity that you should, based on your personal goals, where you're trying to go, and let her know that I sent you. Again, that's Angela Lofton Moore, and she's at 916-706-1155. I was looking at the clock, a minute and a half. Well, before I get into the next set, I want to take a small break here because we're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to talk about the KISS business plan, keeping it simple.
Oh, okay.
And then there's another S. I have to come up with a better word for that S. We're going to talk about the KISS business plan when we come back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent KEE, and we'll be right back.
How you gonna
Hey,
have
guys.
You don't have the second S?
Because I realized that it said KISS and the second S is stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. I don't want to call people stupid.
Yeah. Somebody can take that wrong.
Yeah, keep it simple, silly.
Yeah.
What's a nice word for the S? You guys, what should I give that last S? We don't want to call it keep it. What'd you say, Sade? We have one in the family now, Mr. Sean Mark. Oh, Sean is an accountant? I didn't even know that.
What about solution?
Wow. Keep it simple solutions. Keep it simple solution.
It's KISS.
Keep it simple.
Right?
Keep it simple
Because you
solution.
don't believe in problems, you believe in solutions.
Okay. I'm gonna look.
Because I don't.
I'm writing it down.
I believe in solutions.
Keep it simple solutions.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever notice creativity is another one?
I see, because that just kind of rolled off.
God bless.
Y'all hear that music? Oh my gosh. Hey. Hello, youngster.
Yeah, about that.
Look, got my hand going in the air. Can y'all hear that music? Turn that up, turn that up. Hey. That's old school, y'all. That's old school.
I mean, I am one of the coolest cats when it comes to music.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys gotta see who's doing this. That's Dosey back there.
I'm one of the coolest cats they got here when it comes to music. Trust me when I tell you.
Yes, y'all. He's got the show on Thursdays and Fridays.
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning?
Yeah.
Tell everybody.
Tuesday mornings at 8 o'clock. Thursday evenings from 6 to 8. And then the grand show, the Pick 'em Up from Down show, was Friday from 3 to 7. You don't want to miss it.
Fridays from 3 to 7. So, y'all, I'm telling you, every time I'm in the car, coincidentally, it usually is like right at the time when the house party come on. But you gotta just, it's something that happens when you hear that music from back in the day. They don't make music like that no more. I don't know what these kids are listening to. They don't either.
They can make it on the computer, though. As long as they can do that there.
Yeah.
But there's just no plasma. Ain't nobody really playing that. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Plasma can't feel this.
Not at all. Antoinette, keep it super simple. Oh!
I like that.
Keep it super simple.
I like that. I like it even better, actually.
That's cool, too. I'm going to write it down, too.
Yeah. That was right on time.
Yeah, look, perfect timing. Thank you, Miss. Who is it? Oh, that's Hey, y'all, we're back. I was talking off the air and almost missed my cue. You're listening to 97.5 FM, KDEE. I am Agent KEE. I just want to thank Antoine for giving me another title for the KISS plan, KISS. He said, keep it super simple. Yay. So we are talking about the key to a successful career in real estate. And we are at the point of outlining the business plan. And I mentioned at the top of the show that on my website, Agent KEE, AGENTKEE.com, within the next couple of days, many of the documents based on what we've been talking about, I will put them there just for you to download so that you can get a better idea of what it is that I've been talking about. If you've been taking notes, it'll make much more sense when you see the document. And don't fret, I also said I am working on a course that's going to include all of this information in much more detail. So from the top, from developing your business plan, managing your financials, sales and marketing, lead generation, and social media. That entire course will include that. And I'm going to invite my friends from the industry to help me teach those classes. And of course, as long as we're in this COVID-19 quarantine, it's going to be on Zoom, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be on Zoom. So this Keep It Super Simple business plan. Thank you, Antoine. I'm going to upload this as well. But just to start, I want to let you know when you're creating a super simple business plan, you want to start with goals. And last week, we talked about this, and this is just a quick outline. What is it that I really, really want? And that I'm really willing to work hard to get? Write that question down. What is it that I really want and willing to work hard to get? When do I want it? Set a time frame for yourself. And then finally, your financial goals. Once you're in real estate, for the first year, you have to decide how many transactions you want to close or how much money you want to make. And just to give you an example, the median sales price in Sacramento right now is about $480, I believe. Commission on that, I don't have my phone out. Commission on that is probably somewhere between $12,000, $13,000, probably $14,000. By the time you get to take that check home after your broker has taken their share of it, you're probably taking home around $8,000 or $9,000 or less if you're at a 50-50 split. It just depends on your split. So let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, that if you close a median sales price home, you're probably going to take around somewhere around $8,000 or $9,000 a month. You want to decide how many of those transactions you think you can close on a monthly basis and multiply that by 12. If you think you can close one transaction a month, then you say, well, I want to close 12 deals a year. $8,000 or $9,000 a month income is pretty good. But don't forget your expenses. So you're not taking the entire amount home. And then also I mentioned that you wanted to pay yourself. So maybe you start closing 2 or 3 deals a month. And maybe you don't need to take home, $24,000 a month. Maybe you want to be a real astute business person, put all of your commission checks in your business account, and then pay yourself a check once a month. Pay yourself a salary. Speak with your financial planner and speak with your tax consultant to see if that situation might be a better one for you. I'll tell you that that's my personal situation as an S Corp, paying myself. A lot of other brokers and industry leader agents that I know do the same thing. But you have to do what's best for you based on your own personal situation and your goals. Once you decide what your monthly goals, what your annual goals are going to be, whether it's how many transactions you want to close or how much money you make, you want to break down what that looks like as far as production by month. So I would simply use something as simple as the 80-20 rule. If you keep in mind that 80% of your business is going to come from 20% of your work, then wait, let me back that up. I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. Let's back up to what it takes to get to a closed transaction. So in order to get to one closed transaction, you want to monitor what it took to get there. What do I mean by that? Remember last week when I said you have to start with your database? Depending on how many people are in your database, it could be 25, it could be 50, it could be 100, it could be 200. Your goal out the gate is to work that database so that they get to the point of knowing you, liking you, and trusting you when it comes to real estate. So you need to convert at least 4 leads a month from your database to get to the point of one transaction. And just because you have that one transaction doesn't mean it's going to close. So that means that you need to have 2 transactions in the pipeline, in escrow, to ensure that the one closes. So if you need 2 transactions in the pipeline, then how many leads do you really need to be working on? 8. And when I say leads, what do I mean by leads? That means people who have reached out to you or you've reached out to them and they are motivated and need to get pre-qualified if they're a buyer, or maybe they're pre-qualified. If they're not motivated, you just want to put them on a drip system and back burner them. They need to be motivated. But they could be motivated and ready to get pre-qualified, but maybe they've got some credit issues. So you've got them working with someone that you are counseling them with on their credit or something of that nature, but they're actually working on credit restoration. So that's one lead, right? They're going to be ready eventually. So you don't give up on those people. They're going to be ready. You just need to make sure you connect them with somebody who's really working with them properly, right? If it's a seller, it's somebody who you've met with and they're not ready to put it on the market right now because you went over there and you've consulted with them and they've been in the house for 30 years. So there's some things that they've got to do. I met with someone a few days ago and we're going to be listing their home. I was competing against a couple of other agents, and she let me know the other day that she wants us to do the listing for her. The way that I went in, I go in with all of my clients, which is making sure that they understand that we're there to serve them, that we want to help walk them through the process from the beginning to the end. When someone's been living in their house for a long time, you can't pressure them to get that house on the market. You can't have commission breath. When you go into a transaction with a client, potential client, they can smell commission breath a mile away. So you have to always be of the mindset to be serving in order to keep leads in your funnel. So as long as you are serving them, they don't have to be ready at that moment. So with this particular client, there's some things that we're working on, helping them get the house emptied or at least vacated enough to where we can do some light staging. And when it's time to put on the market, other people can walk through and just be thoroughly impressed. The house is gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. It's not going to need a lot, but they're just taking some things out of the house, and then we'll do a deep clean and do the carpets. So we got to go through that. So it's not ready to get on the market today, but will it be ready eventually? Yeah. So that's a lead that's kind of in there. So you need 8 leads like that, whether it's a buyer or a seller, to ensure that you're going to have those 2 in escrow to get to the one that will possibly close. Does that make sense, you guys? So you always have to have a lot more out there, and they need to be authentic. Not people that are, this is one thing about your business you got to get straight. You got to learn quickly how to filter bad business. If it's a potential buyer, they got to be two things, you guys, in order to work with them: motivated and pre-qualified. If you have to keep reaching out to them and calling them, hey, you still interested in buying? They are not motivated. Move on. You're wasting your time. There are a lot of people who are. And when I say pre-qualified, what can you can't do anything about motivating somebody, but you can do something about getting them pre-qualified. So you can have people who are motivated, but there are people who are not pre-qualified, and you can do something about that. Have a system in place to serve people who are not pre-qualified. And for whatever reason, whether it's the down payment that they need, if they don't have the money, find the programs. If they don't have the proper credit score, find the credit companies that will help them restore their credit and get them on track. So you can do something about that. With sellers, for sale by owners, people who are trying to sell their house on their own, I stay away from those individuals. You don't have to, but you have to be prepared to work hard for months with them, because the for sale by owner has an attitude that you have to break through. So when you go to these seminars and you hear people say, get FSBO, for sale by owner, the word we use, we call it FSBO, FSBO. You're going to see programs where people say, you can get FSBO leads, you better be prepared to work your mental fanny off, because you got to break through a mentality to get to that person. Expireds, the same with expireds as far as mentality, because the number one reason that a listing expires is because it was priced too high. So that means that seller doesn't have the right mindset about how to price their house. You guys, I cannot believe it. We are out of time. We are so out of time. I'm like seconds over my time. So I'm going to post this document, the Keep It Super Simple document, on the website. You can check it out in a couple days. Next week, we will be back with Jesus from the KEE Coalition, and we'll be talking about New Helvetia. You guys, it's been great. And remember, if you are doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top. Bye-bye.
No part 3.
Yeah, we're gonna do part 3 next month. You are listening. You guys see, what did I say? We're doing part 3 in October, because next week we're coming back. We're gonna switch it up. I know you're engineering, so you do get an excuse.
If that's okay.
I appreciate you for being the engineer and paying attention to what you need to pay attention to. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Antoine. Is it Shaya? Shaya? I think it's Shaya. Hey, Miss Shaya. Tell me if I'm pronouncing it right. How are you, girl? Okay, you guys, I'm going to take off now. I got to get going. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next week. Bye now.